Zillow, one of the many real estate websites people go to find listings of available homes, is now trying to offload thousands of homes it bought during the pandemic when there was this massive home buying bonanza. Now, why? Why would they want to do this? Obviously, because they're losing money with this real estate that they now have possession of, which just let that sink in for a second, okay? Zillow managed to lose money in the housing market when the housing market is doing tremendously well for people who have the capital to buy houses. They're losing money. They're losing money. I mean, if that's not a fail, like the biggest fail in business for the year, probably. But let me give you the details. This is what happened. So in August, there was an arms race among tech companies that were trying to buy up as much real estate as possible as housing prices exploded across the country. Zillow Bet Big, telling investors that it planned to buy thousands of houses throughout 2021 and turn its homes division into a billion-dollar business. So we've seen this happen with a number of massive companies, right? So they'll buy up single family residences and they'll either flip those homes or, as private equity firms have showed us, they'll turn them into rentals to essentially corner the rental market. In this case, Zillow was planning on doing this mass flipping operation, right? Where they'll buy a bunch of homes, they'll like spit on some tile and put it up on a wall, and then they'll sell it for an insanely inflated price. Well, apparently they didn't really think this through. So as a result, as the summer came to an end though, it seemed like Zillow's offers business was also cooling down. In October, the company told investors that it would stop buying houses, citing construction, renovation, and closing labor shortages. Now, Bloomberg, however, speculated that it could also be motivated by excess inventory and reported that Zillow seemed to sell a good number of houses at a loss instead of a profit. So what is Zillow planning to do now? Now Zillow is looking to offload around 7,000 of the homes it bought. Now there's a twist to this story that isn't so great, but let's just take a moment to really absorb what we've learned and celebrate it, because I love seeing them fail in this regard. Because what Zillow and other companies like Zillow are doing, in order to maximize their profits, of course, is they're taking housing out of an already limited inventory of homes. And I know that we're in such an awful economic situation that most working people in this country already had difficulty affording homes, buying their own properties. However, when you really think about it, the only vehicle in which middle-class Americans or working Americans could build wealth in this country was through home ownership. And these kinds of companies, including private equity firms, have made it more and more difficult throughout the years for that vehicle for wealth building to come to fruition. And that enrages me almost more than any other issue in the country right now. Because it's also led to, there's a domino effect. It's also led to an increase of people within the rental market. And you look at rental prices and they've shot up as a result, right? Because again, there's limited inventory in both the housing market where you can purchase homes and also the rental market. Now, what is the negative twist to the story? Here it is. The company is trying to sell the homes to, you guessed it, institutional investors like Wall Street firms, to the tune of $2.8 billion. Investors made up about 20%, that's 1/5, 20% of the home buying market in 2020. And Zillow says that it and its competitors made up around 1% of the housing market in the second quarter of 2021. 1/5 of the housing market is a massive and influential chunk, and it absolutely is. There's no other way of putting it. And this trend of institutional buyers, okay, so the private equity firms, the BlackRocks and all of that, they were really empowered by the policies that were passed under the Obama administration. So when we talk about the lopsided economic recovery following the 2008 recession, That was very much the result of policies that put Wall Street first, that prioritized the best interests of Wall Street while essentially screwing over ordinary Americans who should have received some sort of relief so their homes weren't foreclosed on. But that's not what happened. So by 2016, as a result of Obama-era policies, 95% of the distressed mortgages on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's books were auctioned off to Wall Street investors without any meaningful stipulations. And private equity firms had acquired more than 200,000 homes in desirable cities and middle-class suburban neighborhoods, creating a tantalizing new asset class, the single-family rental home. And the numbers have just gotten worse. And we see it play out in the housing market. All of us notice it. So over the next 7 years, so starting in 2016 and over the next 7 years, strategic acquisitions culminated into Blackstone subsidiary Invitation Homes, making Invitation Homes the largest single family rental company in America. And with almost 80,000 homes after Blackstone sold its shares at the end of 2019. Okay, so think about the number of homes just this one private equity firm has. And it's just one. You're seeing copycats popping up doing the same thing that Blackstone is engaging in, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster for the housing market. It's an absolute disaster when you consider the already limited inventory of houses. And there's nothing being proposed by Democrats, by the way, who are in power right now to mitigate this. Absolutely no regulations, no policies, because when it comes to neoliberalism, the government only intervenes on behalf of moneyed interests, but never on behalf of ordinary American workers. And that's just how this system works. So when Democrats are curious as to why people hate them so much and why they're losing so much support among the working class, it's because this kind of garbage happens under their watch due to some of the policies that they pass, and they just completely ignore the issue as if it doesn't exist. So can you understand the rage in the country as a result? I know I can.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.